Welcome to episode 251 of Empty the Bench on the Empty the Bench podcast network. He's Tom Albano. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media for Empty the Bench at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Forget Facebook. We're not on there anymore. At ETB Sports. Make sure you follow the Empty the Bench podcast network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, at ETB Network. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Very close to 900 subscribers on that goal to 1,000 subscribers. So please help us out. As we said, youtube.com/ETB Network. If you don't watch us on the video side, get us on the audio side, wherever you get your podcast as well. Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, YouTube Premium, as well, as I've learned over the last couple months that's actually a thing. So check us out there as well. Also, we are presented by Playback as well. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators or communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. I will let you in behind the curtain a little bit. I did have a meeting with Playback, and I hear a lot of good things. A lot of good things on the horizon. MLB looks like it's very close to being done officially. So by spring training next year, because obviously the baseball season is over, for the most part, except for the playoffs, we will have full access, hopefully, to Major League Baseball when that comes next year. Don't worry, NBA is coming back starting like October 22nd or 23rd, somewhere around there. That's full force. That's coming back, so I'm looking forward to that. And then there's some other stuff, which I can't really say yet. I found out, but I don't want to reveal yet because they haven't confirmed. So a lot of stuff on the horizon as well. Interesting week in the world of sports. We're going to actually do quite a bit of baseball this week. Yes, shocker. We are doing baseball this week. And you're probably saying, but Nick, Tom, what do you mean you're doing baseball this week? Well, yeah, there was a lot of headlines. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as I like to put it. And quite literally, it'll be in that order. So plenty of baseball for the baseball nerds out there that we will get to. Also, surprising in the media space, somebody retires and is going to be the GM of a college basketball program. Stay tuned for that one, because that's when I explain that to you, you're going to say, wait, what? And you'll understand that in a little bit. NBA news as well, some NFL controversy and other stuff. Some other media news, and we're going to end with a hockey topic this week.
Shohei Ohtani. So Shohei Ohtani has made some pretty significant history, becoming the first. Well, he's established a club in baseball. He has established now the 50-50 club with Major League Baseball. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. No one has ever done this in the history of professional baseball. Very few people ever did the 40-40. Now he has the 50-50. Who knows? Maybe the way that he plays, because he's such a freak of nature athlete, he'll get 60-60 by the time the MLB season finally finishes on Sunday.
Yeah, this guy's an incredible athlete. Not just a incredible baseball player, an incredible athlete. I mean, the way his season started, we didn't even know if he was going to get to 30-30, 40-40 because of some injuries and some other stuff that happened earlier on. He slumped at the beginning of the season. And the more impressive, in my opinion, the home runs mean nothing because we know he can hit for power. Okay? The stolen bases is the more impressive stat for me.
It's the fact that he has the power and the speed.
Yeah. Like anyone in Major League Baseball, I shouldn't say anyone, but a lot in today's game, the power game is the most important. And now to have 50 stolen bases, and by the way, the base that he stole to get 50, he shouldn't have been safe the way he slid into third base. Like, he had a few of those type of stolen bases this year where, like, he was just nonchalantly going into second base or third base quite a few times this year. And people are still getting on the Dodgers about the contract, the 10 years, $700 million, and technically deferring $680 million of it. So it's really technically, what is it? It's 10 years, $20 million, as opposed to what the actual deferment number will actually be. So this is impressive, no matter any way you look at it.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely phenomenal. And for all the concerns that we may have had with Ohtani back in the day, when we were talking about, his pitching, and we're still kind of talking about that now with his UCL, he just continues to rake at the plate. He is, as they say, a generational talent that we will probably never see. We will probably never see another athlete like Shohei Ohtani again for maybe 10, 20, 30 years down the line.
The one thing that I need to preface, because I hear it too many times when it comes to him, he's the Japanese Babe Ruth. We need to calm down on that comment a little bit. I'm not saying that he will be the leader of the records one day. He could be. I think he could be that guy. Mm-hmm. But we need to slow down. What year is he in? He's like 7th year now, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Okay, so he's 7th year. He won Rookie of the Year when he came up. He had a few good seasons. The Angels were going nowhere, so he had to leave. And now he's on a dominant Dodger team, which is partially helping him too.
Mm-hmm. Won 2 AL MVP awards. He's without a doubt going to win the National League MVP this year.
So that would be back. Would that be back-to-back AL NL MVP or no?
Yeah.
Or would he just win in both leagues?
Well, technically, 2023 AL, 2024 NL.
So that's an impressive feat in itself to go back-to-back leagues and win the most valuable player. Now, the one question I do have, because when we see such a dominant player, the media, after a long period of time, will say, we're not giving you the award anymore because you're so dominant that we have to give it to someone who's the most valuable player. Do you see that happening with Shohei or no?
No, because I think I told you this a couple of weeks ago. I feel like, how Mike Trout was kind of like the default MVP with the American League, in the mid-2010s. I feel like Shohei Ohtani is now going to be the default MVP for the National League, the way that he's playing, because I don't see him really slowing down. I think it's going to be interesting next year when he tries to pitch again, but he ain't slowing down at the bat. You think about it, he came into the season with all those concerns about how he was going to try and hit despite the damaged UCL, and look what he's done. Look at the history and the numbers that he has put up.
Now, follow my logic a little bit here, but do you see it almost as an Edgar Martinez type situation? Edgar was such a dominant designated hitter.
If we're talking about this one season alone, secluded, yes. If we're going to talk about his entire career, no, because he's going to pitch again.
Well, and I guess the other take I would have is I would say screw the pitching. That's just me. That's my opinion. I think that's why he's getting hurt.
I get it. Like, I actually get your logic on this one. But the Dodgers are going to say, we paid you all this money to have a dominant bat and a two-way player. They're not going to have, given all this money to not have him as an arm in the rotation.
So I guess the one logical fight back I would say, and it's not even like a fight, but fight back I would say is if he gets injured again, because he's had 2 Tommy Johns, I think now?
2 UCL injuries.
I mean, right, 2 UCLs. If he has another one, his career could be over. And that's what worries me the most. Would you rather have a really dominant hitter that could be in the center of your lineup, that could help you win 2-3 titles, which the Dodgers are begging for? Because in my opinion, the COVID title meant nothing to me whatsoever. It doesn't have the same value.
Not for me. For me, it's not so much the COVID title. It's that the fact that they signed Shohei Ohtani to the kind of deal that they had with the deferred money, plus the signing of Yamamoto, it's that with the kind of talent that they have, they kind of need to win a championship within the next 5 years, 2 within the next 10 years. Otherwise, because we talked about it before when Shohei's contract was first signed, when they signed Yamamoto, we said when all that money hits in about a decade's time, Dodgers are going to have a real problem on their hands.
It's not just him; it's Freddie Freeman. Also,
Freeman, yep.
If I remember correctly in the reports, the Dodgers are one of those teams that just defers everything. Like that,
Yep.
That's what they do. That's what they're known for. They just defer everything. So they're saying, "Oh, look, in the short term, we're not spending a ton of money. In the long term, when everybody is long gone and we literally have to pay that money, it's like an NFL team with dead money on their cap that they have to that comes due because they didn't win. So they gotta win. They gotta win at least 2 or 3 titles in that 10-year span to get any value out of that contract. The money aspect of it is, in my opinion, means nothing because with all these hedge fund guys and all these guys that own teams, they can find a way to make the money back on the contract.
Hi, Steve.
Exactly. Thank you. No, that's exactly right. So making the money back is not the issue. It's winning for the fans, even though teams could give 2 shits what their fans think if they win or not.
We'll talk about an owner like that in a little bit.
But they gotta win 2 or 3 titles in that 10 years. They have to. They have no choice. That you're right. It'd be $700 million down the drain if they did not. So this is nice. This is a historical feat. It's never been done before. And if he somehow completes 60-60, that would be even more of an impressive feat. Don't get me wrong. 50-50 is incredible on its own. It's never been done before. We've seen 40-40. If I remember correctly, I was reading Jose Canseco started the 40-40 club.
I want to say so.
Because his name was coming up, and of course I saw him tweeting and congratulating Shohei Ohtani, by the way.
Ohtani, by the way, for the record, as of the time we're recording this, is at 53 home runs, and he's already at 55 stolen bases. And you know what's funny? He's not even the NL leader in stolen bases.
Oh, it's Cruz.
De La Cruz has 65.
That's incredible. That's Ricky Henderson-like, almost.
Yeah.
But I think he had a massive record, Ricky Henderson, though, if I'm not mistaken. Like close to 100, I think, in a season, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember off the top of my head. But
we're talking about a single season record.
Yeah.
He stole 130 bases in 1982.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was way off on that one. I knew it was somewhere in the 100 range, but 130. First of all, I don't think that ever is going to happen again. With De La Cruz or not, it's not going to happen. You need, first of all, the game was different back then. Everyone was stealing bases to take the extra base. Now it means nothing to take an extra base because everyone's hitting for power.
Oh, by the way, just for the record, so yeah, Ohtani became the 6th 40-40 person when he did it earlier this season. Jose Canseco was the first, and alongside them, Barry Bonds, A-Rod, Alfonso Soriano, and Ronald Acuna.
And so far, there's only, well, I don't know about Acuna, but there's one guy on that list that's technically not PED. There.
Well, wait a minute. Alfonso Soriano was PED?
No. I said that wasn't PED. I said, because I don't know about Acuna, because Acuna's playing right now. So I don't know.
Acuna's playing right now. Acuna's playing right now. He's clean. Otani's clean.
Right.
Soriano, we never had an issue with.
But I'm talking about Bonds and Sosa and...
Sosa? I never said Sosa.
Oh, I thought you said Sosa. You didn't say Sosa?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you say that. Okay. What were the names again? Repeat the names
Jose
again.
Canseco, Barry Bonds, Alex Rodriguez, Alfonso Soriano.
Okay, then A-Rod. Maybe I was thinking A-Rod. A-Rod and Bonds and Canseco. That's what I meant. Okay. So it's just ironic that a lot of the names are PED on that list. But first of all, Shohei is the cleanest player I've seen to break all these records. By the way, I will put that out there for the record, because you know what happens when you see a lot of these records and all the power and all the home runs he's hitting. People assume, well, he must be on PEDs. No, it's not on PEDs. Let's not start that rumor, please.
I don't think anybody was. Let's talk about something that's really, we talk about history in a good regard. Let's talk about history in a bad regard. They have done it. The Chicago White Sox have become the second team in Major League Baseball history with 120 losses. They have tied the 1962 New York Mets for most losses in a single MLB season. With 6 games still left to play, as of the time we're recording this, they're actually in the middle of the second inning of their game against against the Angels. The Angels-White Sox game kind of got delayed on Tuesday night. As of the time of recording this, they're still playing, and 6 games left. Most likely, by the time either this show comes out or not long after it, they probably will have taken sole possession of this dubious record.
There's so many sounds for this right now.
And all the failure. You suck.
There you go.
Well, I mean, we were waiting for this day. Now I'm sure Mets fans were waiting for this day so they could shed themselves off that icky record. But look, the way the White Sox season was going, it seems like this was inevitable. With a losing streak here, the 21 game losses here, by the time that they didn't win for like a whole month, from right before the All-Star break to like right around the time of the trade deadline, it was brutal. It was bad. It was devastating to watch. I feel bad for a lot of those guys on that team, especially like Benintendi. I know Benintendi did not spend too much time with the Yankees, but God bless that man. It sucks what happened here in New York. And now
does he hate his life right now? Does he hate his life because he could have been a Yankee instead of a White Sox?
Well, who's really, who I really felt bad for? Do you remember that image a couple of months ago? There was that Dodger relief pitcher who got traded.
Yes.
And you saw him like in his first game, you saw him in the bullpen as the White Sox was getting killed or blew a lead. And he's just like,
yes.
Like, yes. No, like you went from the best team in baseball to the worst team in baseball.
That's one of those feelings where you're just like, oh God, what did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
I mean, this is incredible. I mean, 120 losses. No one's in the stadium, number one. They've tried to run all these wacky promotions all year, like with food and stuff to get people in the stadium. It really didn't work. Remember we saw pictures. What do they call the field anymore? I don't even know what the name of the stadium is anymore. I think Cellular. Is it US Cellular? That was the old one.
It was US Cellular. Now it's guaranteed rate.
Oh God. But the stadium was empty. There were pictures of the stadium where there was like 100 fans in it. It was that bad. It was a competition between them and the Oakland Athletics for who could have less fans inside the stadium. But the White Sox quite literally need to blow it up. Like, quite literally blow it up. Fire everybody.
Well, they already fired their manager earlier this year, but...
Oh, yeah, that's right. They have Grady Sizemore managing them right now?
But, like, Chris Getz can't keep his job, possibly. Yeah.
Hell no, he can't keep his job. 120 wins, historic record? No!
You mean 120 losses, but yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But like, Nick, if Chris Getz keeps his job, especially after watching, what's his name from the Angels get the contract extension earlier, like, was it a month ago, the general manager?
Yes.
Perry
Mason? Whatever. Madison. I can't. Yeah, that's it.
The fact that he got an extension after what has happened, the fact that the team lost the greatest player right now in baseball for nothing, and the fact that, they kept Mike Trout all this time, they wasted his career away, and he got a 2-year extension. If that happened, well, I mean, that already happened. If that happened and Chris still gets, to keep his job, there's just no accountability for general managers anymore at that point.
It's true. I mean, I remember, and this is, again, going to make us feel old a little. I remember back in the early 2000s. What was it, 2005, when they made the World Series?
Chicago White Sox, yeah.
That was the Astros series, right?
Yeah, it was their first one since 1919. And I'm not even sure. They've been to the playoffs a couple of times.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, yeah. They've been quite a few times. But that was the Ozzie Guillen, Bobby Jinks is the closer, Jermaine Dye,
AJ Krasinski,
Paul Konerko at first.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a classic team way back when. And Ozzie Guillen doing the phone to the bullpen, ESPN Sports Center commercial. Come on, guys, get Jinx up in the bullpen. What's going on out there? I mean, that was an incredible team. And then it's funny, it's ironic now because Ozzie Guillen is now doing pre and post in studio for the White Sox this year. And he's I think at one point he's like, I need a drink to watch this White Sox team lose. It's that bad.
Because he was interviewing for the manager's job, I think, last year.
I think you're right, actually. The problem is, I think his political correctness is going to stop him from ever getting a job again.
Well, that's the thing. He lost the job to Griffel. And so basically he used this whole season, and kind of all last season too, to just, whenever they were playing bad, just rip them to shreds.
And ironically, I think the network is partially owned by the White Sox. Oops, again.
Well, I mean, what else can you say? This is the most epic of a fail in the history of professional sports.
If I was the fans right now, I just would not show up, at all. Don't do what the Oakland A's fans did, where they staged a sit-in inside the stadium. Let's put more money in the owners' pockets for doing nothing. That's smart.
I mean, the Yes Network was not opposed. Oh, I'll talk about that in just a second. But what else is there to say? You pretty much said it. They have to really look at themselves. They have to eat their humble pie, get their 121st loss, and become the solo champion of losses in baseball history. And then they got to really look at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, what the hell do we do now? Where do we go from here?
You know what? The reference I can think of that's really funny, in the SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob or Squidward pays for the pie that accidentally has the explosive in it.
Yeah.
And SpongeBob has the pie, accidentally trips, and then it goes kaboom. Mm-hmm. That's the White Sox right now.
Actually, hold on. I'm not done. Because there's one point that I do remember, because I mentioned Chris Getz.
Okay.
I was going to talk about Jerry Reinsdorf for a second, but it was last week. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Chris Getz is being interviewed on the White Sox broadcast and basically admits the team is not going to really look to do much in free agency. So after watching this, are you really saying that you're not going to make any sort of efforts? Because if that's the case, if I'm Jerry Reinsdorf, you better get Chris Getz's ass out of Chicago. And if not, as you make the mention of the Oakland A's, sell the frickin' team.
I mean, basically what Chris Getz is telling you.
Chris Getz is saying, we're going to end the season with 122, 23, 24 losses. How about we try to up it next year?
That would be incredible to see, the first 162 record season.
Well, you know what? Wasn't there a season? I think it was the Knicks a few years ago that they were 9-73
yes,
in the NBA.
That was the year of what was that? Eddie Curry and Jerome James, and where the Knicks were just not trying whatsoever. They had a bunch of high-priced, overpaid veterans, and it was just a terrible franchise at that point. Everyone was yelling at James Dolan to sell the franchise that year.
You know what's funny? I looked for the 9-73 team, and basically I got the 1972-73 team on Google. I'm like, don't tease me like that, Google. That was our last championship.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, what was 2018-19? Oh, 2018-19 was 17-65.
Close enough.
And we had Kadeem Allen, Ron Baker, Tim Hardaway, John Jenkins, DeAndre Jordan, Kevin Knox, Luke Cornett, Frank Neto
Aquina. Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson.
Who's now hurt.
What a team.
And
what
by the way, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, what a difference 5 years makes for the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, and Mitchell Robinson's going to miss like all the way to December. They're reporting at this point, but I digress. My point is with the White Sox, it's just funny at this point. It's no longer frustrating. It's just funny to watch them lose.
Well, it depends on the context. It's either funny or sad, or both.
I just think it's hilarious just because they're not trying. Now, here's the funny part. We say this all the time about baseball. There's no tanking in baseball at all.
But
right?
unfortunately, they just have a really, really bad team. And you know what? If you can do a custom banner with all points bulletin, then you know what? So can I.
Oh no. That was good.
They are basically becoming the Broncos country name.
That's actually really funny. I mean, if we're talking about all, because I think there's 2 series left for everybody basically until the end of the season is over.
Yes.
They could lose 125 games. Quite literally.
Well, especially because that last series of the season, they have to play Detroit again. Detroit's probably going to kill them again. They might sweep them again.
By the way, speaking of Detroit, talk about all-time turnaround this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, AJ Hinch can work his magic with teams.
As long as he's not being investigated for cheating, yes.
All right, let's talk about another trash team in the A's. They have officially played their last home series, getting swept by the New York Yankees, of course. And now they're playing their last 2 series, as you mentioned. They're on the road, but it'll be the last time they'll be known as the Oakland A's. They will officially move to their AAA ballpark, Sacramento, for 2025, as their new stadium in Las Vegas is being built. And Jon Fisher decided, you know what? I think I need to leave some sort of message to the city of Oakland. Because, of course you do. I mean, I get it why you have to, but I'm very curious to see how you will react to this letter, Nick. So,
I read it already, so I already know. There's some things that I make my head boil.
Okay, but I guess I'll read it for the full context for people who did not see the letter. So, to our Oakland Athletics fans, and it lists, this upcoming series with the Rangers will be the final games of the A's. Story 57 years in Oakland, mentions all the A's history. The A's are a part of the fabric of Oakland, the East Bay, and the entire Bay Area. When Lou Wolf and I bought the team in 2005, our dream was to win world championships and build a new park in Oakland. Over the next 18 years, we did our very best to make that happen. We proposed and pursued 5 different locations in the Bay Area. And despite mutual and ongoing efforts to get a deal done for the Howard Terminal project, we came up short. Only in 2021, after 16 years of working exclusively on developing a home in the Bay Area and faced with a binding MLB agreement to find a new home by 2024, did we begin to explore taking the team to Las Vegas. There are millions of dedicated and passionate A's fans in Oakland and around the world. Countless dedicated staff members and Oakland Coliseum employees have poured their hearts into this team, and their efforts have meant so much to our community. I know there is great disappointment, even bitterness. Though I wish I could speak to each one of you individually, I can tell you this from the heart. We tried. Staying in Oakland was our goal.
Sorry.
It was our mission, and we failed to achieve it. And for that, I am genuinely sorry. Looking ahead, I hope you will join our beloved A's as we move forward on this amazing journey. I hope I will see you again sporting the green and gold, and I hope we will make you proud.
I'm sorry. Like, I'm not even mad at it. Like, I'm just, like, I'm laughing at it. Well, number one. That's the first thing that came to my mind listening to this letter. Because, number one, and actually, I should have played the other one first. This one.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
Okay, now say it.
Is that in response to We Tried?
Yeah, of course it is. It's the biggest load of bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, we tried, which is why MLB was so willing to waive our relocation fee in order to move to Las Vegas.
I mean, dare I say Jon Fisher is Mr. Krabs?
I mean, there were negotiations for that ballpark. But look, there's a reason fans are so bitter. All the constant up and downs with this team, all the constant frustrations with you as an owner, and the fact that, I've said it before about this season, with the A's. I said it was a real life major league, an owner trying to make the team suck so bad that basically nobody goes to the ballpark and they're allowed to move. And in this case, the bad guys actually win.
Well, there's another thing here. They raised the tickets for the last series. Are you kidding me?
And it was still a sellout, so you knew what they were doing.
Well, I'm wondering if, do you have that sound of Stephen A. of the CON Spiracy?
That's not Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, not Stephen A. Who is it? I'm sorry.
It's R-Truth. That is a WWE legend, my friend.
Sorry. Because I'm so used to hearing Stephen A. Smith on the show, I kept thinking it was him. But I need the CON Spiracy right now.
Okay, hold on.
CON Spiracy?
Okay. So think about the Yankee series in Oakland coming down to the final two series of the year. You can't tell me that wasn't done on purpose for ticket sales and to get attention on them moving.
I don't know. Well, if you're going to do that, then you have to do this.
Oh no, I blame him too. Don't you worry.
Because, well, like I said, the reason I blame him is because, there's a fee, there's a process you have to go through for relocation. But MLB probably wanted a team in Las Vegas so badly. They wanted a piece of that Las Vegas pie that they were willing to just, go.
Well, and there's another issue. Oh, go ahead.
No, what's funny is, I say funny, it's kind of sad. But this is not the first time Oakland has lost a team to Las Vegas.
I was going to go
Raiders.
there too. Yeah. The one thing I will say that's kind of ridiculous and frustrating from Major League Baseball's standpoint also is the stupid zoning bullshit that they put the Oakland A's through because of the Giants. Because they had opportunities for stadiums, but Major League Baseball claimed that it was too close to the San Francisco Giants zoning area. And that's why they didn't get the new stadium in certain places. So that's a frustrating issue when it comes to the stadium and the way that it needs to be. And now the A's are out of luck and are heading to Sacramento and then to Vegas.
Could you imagine what it's going to be like at that Sacramento stadium? I mean, the fact that they got to get all the major
stadium.
They got to get all the Major League Baseball approved stuff ready. They're going to have to balance out how they're going to, handle the schedule with the MLB team and the AAA team. There's one benefit, Nick. Just one benefit. When you make AAA call-ups, it's going to be very easy to just get them.
I didn't even think about that. But as I read through quickly, just going back a little bit of the letter, just to say, Oakland has been the home for the greatest era in the franchise's more than 123 years. Really?
I think that's true. I mean, the early 1970s, they were pretty dominant force. They had a three-peat.
But the thing is, they're talking about many decades ago. They're not referring to how bad the A's have been since. They're not talking about any of that. It's a Jon Fisher letter. He's only focusing on the good, not the bad, which is typical. You don't hear from Jon Fisher. You don't hear press conferences from Jon Fisher, except for when he's pandering for public money or financing to get new stadiums built in Oakland, or if he was trying. So, I don't know. I smell BS from like 10 miles away, not just a mile away. And like you said, Jon Fisher got what he wants, which was to go to Vegas. But I think you're right also that Major League Baseball wanted a team in Vegas. But here's the issue I have, what you were starting to say. You already lost one team to Vegas from Oakland, and you pissed off Oakland fans once. Now you're going to piss them off again?
Oakland it's kind of disappointing to see. Now, granted, Oko Stadium was
dreadful.
a disaster.
The sewage.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the point that isn't it the last multi-purpose stadium in existence, baseball, football?
Go ask the Mets if you remember when we covered that story of the broadcast booth where they found rats running through the booth because they didn't have a proper booth set up for the away teams. What's that?
Well, it's not going to be much longer if that stadium stands, most likely, now that the A's are going to be gone.
You know what the big joke was? Don't drink the water at that stadium. I wouldn't.
Would you trust the bottled water in that stadium?
Hell no, I wouldn't trust the bottled water. I wouldn't trust eating food in that stadium. For crying out loud.
Know what? Hey, you know what? You could probably eat and drink, but it would still probably cost you a pretty penny.
The food probably costs more than the tickets to actually go in there. I just don't. But Jon Fisher, would you say Jon Fisher could go down as one of the worst owners in Major League Baseball history?
No doubt.
Well, I think all the way back to the Reds owner way back when. What?
Mark Scott?
Yeah. No. Yes. Or whoever the Reds owner was way back in the day. I can't remember her name, but she was like one of the most. Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. Okay. But she was terrible. Like her reputation was horrible. Jon Fisher is probably up there with almost the same reputation or worse.
I mean,
he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth too.
Although Fisher hasn't made any racist style remarks that we know of.
True. I'll give you that one for sure.
All right. One other baseball story CJ Abrams, the great young shortstop phenom of the Washington Nationals, has been demoted to the minor leagues. He won't play. His regular season appears to be done because the day before a 1 p.m. game, the night before a 1 p.m. game, he stayed out at a casino. And he was there until 8 in the morning.
What the f***? Or more like...
Well, I don't know. I don't know on the record if he was winning or not.
No. I'm just saying he was gambling. I mean...
Are you winning, son?
I don't know. If he's winning, well, you know what? Let me be careful with that statement. But who knows? Whether he's winning or losing, if there's a curfew, which a lot of teams have before they play their day games, if you didn't follow the curfew, then you're an idiot.
And that's the thing, because the most interesting response that came to us from my end was watching the Mets broadcast booth talk about it, because they talk about the 80s teams. And, we will hear, the back in my day stories about what happened to baseball teams in the 80s or in the 70s and all the madness that happens with those teams. Here's my problem with those. It's 2024. Back then, you did not have the technology, all the cameras and stuff, and social media activity that you do these days, which means that things you got away with back then, you most likely are not getting away with now. And if CJ Abrams here broke the rules, guess what? There's got to be a consequence for it. Now,
I apologize to the audio audience in advance, but when you have one of these on you nonstop, when you have a phone that has a smartphone that can snap pictures in a second and go right to social media, you can't do anything.
Which I think there was a photo of Abrams at a casino.
There was. I saw it on social media.
Yeah. Now, if the Washington Nationals were in the middle of a playoff race, would they actually be doing something like this?
Hell no. No. This would have gotten buried so far under the rug, I would have found 10 other dust bunnies under that rug.
He probably would not have played that 1 p.m. game when they would have attributed to something like sickness or illness or something.
They would have made up some cockamamie excuse to say, oh, there was a family emergency.
Or maybe they would have just gone with broke team rules, but instead of being a demotion, it would be a 1-game benching, which, again, you wouldn't play him anyways if there was a 1 p.m. game and he was out until 8 a.m.
What do they call it in the NFL? Because they do it all the time. Like, they say violation of team rules.
Yeah. And
they'll just say, all right, you have to sit for... But instead of a game, it's like the first quarter, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But this is dumb. I file this under the category of no shit, Sherlock. as we used to say on this show. And going to a casino, stay until 8 a.m., knowing you have a 1 p.m. game in Chicago. First of all, I didn't know gambling, like real casino stuff, was huge in Chicago. I didn't know that, by the way. But from what I saw, it looked like he was playing craps. And he took a giant crap on his own team because now he's in the minors.
Well, he kind of crapped out.
Exactly.
He did the thing that you don't do, and he rolled a 7.
I've been there and done that before. I know that feeling.
I fully intended saying that, knowing you had said the story to me.
Yes, my first trip in Vegas. First trip in Vegas. I'm rolling for it felt like 15, 20 minutes. I'm not kidding. Like everyone was like triple betting on me because I was like hitting roll after roll after roll, and then I would hit the 7 or 11 when you were supposed to, not. And then I turned to my brother. My brother said I broke a rule for a first-time roller.
You spoke it into existence.
Yes, and I said I'm not going to roll a 7 or 11. He's like, "You idiot!" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You don't say that." And then next roll, I rolled a 7. I basically killed the whole table.
Bravo, Morgasen. You know how to kill a party.
Yes, party pooper. Yes.
All right, let's go to a little bit of basketball. A couple of interesting headlines. The Woj era is over with one last Woj bomb. He is retired. He is gone from the news industry, and he's going to be a general manager, but not for an NBA team. He's going to be the general manager of a college basketball program, his alma mater in St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, so this is a made-up position right off the bat. There's a few people who are doing it for colleges. It's going to become a thing now with all the NIL money and everyone is trying to generate, because now every athlete gets paid, including your average athlete on a college program. So he's doing all of that. I see this news. One, I thought it was a lie when I first saw it. I thought he got hacked. I thought. Because it came directly from him. By the way, I heard a ridiculous rumor. I don't know how true it is, but supposedly he didn't tell anybody before he was going to do it, because what did he think was going to happen?
It was going to get leaked?
He thought that Shams was going to take his news before he posted it. And I said, what? Your own news? I mean, that's funny. That would have been funny if that actually happened that way. I get scooped by a competition. But
you get scooped on your own scoop about yourself by Shams.
That would have been amazing. I would have laughed for weeks and months if that happened. But you know what? I'm happy for the guy. We don't talk about this enough, but the insider news business is a dog, quite literally.
Yeah, I mean, there's that infamous photo. I mean, I say infamous, not really infamous.
It got a lot of views.
Jeff Passan, Woj, Adam Schefter, all at a Bruce Springsteen concert together. And I said, how much do you want to bet that right after that photo was taken, all three of them were right back to their phones?
Oh, hey, I think you said it accurately after we talked about that they were probably on their phones, like in between songs. All right, what news can I get in between whatever name your song here is playing? So I could have seen that. I said it to you a couple days ago when prepping the show that these guys can't go on a vacation. They can't go out to dinner. I heard a story from, I think it was Schefter, who said that when he showers, the phone is up against the shower glass because he has to make sure he doesn't miss a story.
Hey, they have phones like that now.
No, but I'm saying like his phone, like he literally is looking at it through the. Yeah. I'm like, that. And I think I asked you another question also. Is it worth all the money in the world that you could make doing that job to have no life?
I don't know how much money they make.
Well, supposedly, and I don't know the accurate answer, but supposedly he left $20 million on the table. He was making about $4 to $5 million a year, supposedly.
But that's the thing. He's probably made enough money that he can live comfortably, because there comes a point, and believe you me when I say this, there comes a point as a media person where you just got to say enough is enough.
Well, it would be different if he was just being a columnist or someone that does a huge podcast.
But it came out later that he was tired of the news.
And I don't disagree. The amount of relationships you have to keep up with the GMs and the coaches and the players. He knew all the free agent news. Think about knowing all the news before everybody else and trying to scoop it before like Shams or Chris Haynes or any of the other big instances, which, by the way, those two are free agents, ironically enough, with Woj walking away. So is Shams or Chris Haynes going to be well, Chris Haynes could end up back at ESPN. He was there originally. Yeah. Something tells me that the Shams Pat McAfee connection there, I think we're going to see him at ESPN, which would be incredible to go. ESPN is probably saying, please, we'll pay you whatever you want. Just come here. We'll do whatever it takes. The thing is, though, Woj is more open book, like comfortable when it comes to being in the spotlight than I think Shams is. Shams is a much more quiet newsbreaker, if that makes any sense. But Woj goes off to St. Bonaventure as the GM. How do I say this? Oh, would you have seen this on the bingo card?
No.
Exactly. Anyone who says they saw this coming from a mile away, I don't believe you right now. Because, again, the newsbreaking business is horrible. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean...
it's a grind.
It's a grind. And when you're not first, because I'm sure Shams has beaten Woj to things all the time now, or he's a lot better at it now. But Woj probably gets pissed off when he loses to Shams on certain news breaks when that happened. So, I don't know. I'm happy for him. He said that he was burnt out. He wanted to be around family more. I'm assuming that he can do some of this remote, if I had to take a guess. Also, because think about the insider game for a second also. You're traveling nonstop to cover big stories. Look at Schefter. Schefter's always traveling for the job.
Passan was just in Chicago doing a story about the White Sox as they were getting close to that.
And then you'll see him in New York or LA or wherever. The thing that's getting really tiresome, though, from some of these insiders is you see them in front of the same bookcase every time they do a hit. Like, you used to see that with Adam Schefter all the time. Or
it's their office.
Is it their office or is that an ESPN backdrop? I never know.
I would assume it's their office.
But you know what? I'm happy for him. He was big. Like, and ESPN is going to suffer a little bit.
I'm going to miss the Woj bombs.
I miss the Woj. People are saying, what is Shams going to become? Like what do you call his news breaks? Because that's going to be the next thing.
Shams drop?
Wait, what?
The Shams drop? Oh, wait a minute. What about a Shazam?
I like it.
Shazams.
Shazam. That's great. You should save that one and like put a patent on it, like, and just be like, "You can't have it. I did it now. You have to pay me for it every time it's said." Oh,
I just wonder if he's going to get in trouble with the movie people if we try that.
Or you could just say Shazam. Oh wait, you can't do that either.
That's what I mean.
Well, they made a whole game show out of that too. You know.
True. Hey, one interesting basketball business. Embiid is staying another 3 years with the Sixers, and they gave him nearly $200 million.
Okay. This is a mistake. I'm going to say that right now. And forget the Olympics. I'm saying before the Olympics, because people are going to come out of the woodworks and say, well, he had a crappy Olympics. That's why you shouldn't pay him. No, yes, he had a crappy Olympics. But no, that's not why. If you've been an NBA, like me, I've been an NBA fan and nerd for a long time when it comes to NBA statistics. I know he won the MVP. He probably stole an MVP away from Jokic. So Jokic probably should have won, what was it, 3 in a row? He should have won.
Something like that.
If it wasn't for that stupid rule, but where you have to have a certain amount of games. Or was that the last season before they implemented that stupid rule?
I think it was the season before.
He missed like 20-something games in that season and still won the MVP, which made no sense to me whatsoever.
Because Jokic won this year because Embiid was ineligible.
That's right. Okay. But this is a mistake. He's going to get hurt again. He always gets hurt. So you sign him to this ridiculous deal. I can't do the math in my head. It's like 65 million or something in that range, I think.
Approximately.
Or a little less, actually.
I'll do the math. Hold on.
But
a little less than 65. It's like 64.3.
That's a lot of money for a guy who gets hurt constantly. Like, and I understand this is the game. The numbers keep going up and up and up.
I was just going to say it's the game.
I mean, you brought in Paul George, who's another guy that gets hurt, too. You just gave him, what, 230 plus million. You have two guys that are not going to stay healthy. And you expect them to lead your charge? Really? And what is it? What was the trust the process? There's no trust the process. This is going to be, I'm going to rename this fail the process because that's what's going to happen right now.
Just failed process.
Failed process. Yeah. They're not going to win. These guys didn't win where they were before. Paul George didn't win in Indiana. He didn't win with the Clippers. The Clippers are a joke now. They had two big stars at Kawhi and Paul George, and they barely sniffed the playoffs. Now you're going to put him with Joel Embiid? That's better?
Yeah. Speaking of leading the charge, Bryce Young no longer leading the charge in Carolina. Somehow, old man Andy Dalton came out and just destroyed the Raiders. So Andy Dalton will be the quarterback in Carolina again moving forward. And Bryce Young now open to anything supposedly at the benching. Multiple teams have been on the call to acquire Bryce Young, one of them being Miami, who just lost another quarterback with Skylar Thompson now going down with concussion.
Yeah, that team's in trouble, like big time. Like I kind of feel bad for Dolphins fans a little bit here because they have really good weapons. You have a wide receiver room that's probably one of the best in the NFL.
I'm sorry, do you hear Frank the Tank going on a rant from here?
That's part of where I was going with that joke. But yes, I feel bad for, well, I don't know. He could be a little delusional from I like him. He's funny. He's great. But I don't know what to say about Miami anymore. Like we say this every year. Mike McDaniel's a really good coach. He gets a lot out of his players, but Tua keeps getting hurt, and they don't have reinforcements for the quarterback position. And the Bryce Young thing, like that, I could see that being a fit, but I think Bryce Young, and this is going to sound, I don't know, maybe a little too over the top, but he's damaged goods right now.
I don't know if I would go to the point of damaged goods, but at the very least, he needs a change of scenery.
I mean, he was a first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's not good that in your second year you're getting benched like this. The only thing that I will say is Carolina just doesn't really, it's not really a successful franchise. Ownership definitely does not do its part in trying to make a successful team. It hasn't ever since Cam Newton went on the decline.
I mean, here's the one concern I have. So Andy Dalton, old man Andy, comes out to start a game, has 212 yards in the first half. First half. And I think I have the stats here. 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
But how long is that really going to last?
No. I'm not saying it's going to last. I know I'm not that delusional on the planet Mars. But my point is, it's odd that the team just fell apart with Bryce Young running the ship. And all of a sudden, Andy Dalton walks in and completely gets the chemistry up and they're all playing better again. That seems a little odd to me.
But if you're, let's say, the Dolphins, do you really have any choice at this point?
Wait, what do you mean the Dolphins? You mean like, to pick somebody up, you mean?
And Bryce Young is there. I mean, do you have to at least make the consideration? Because technically he was a starting quarterback up until last week, and you're down 2 quarterbacks already. And you don't know when Skylar Thompson's coming back. You don't know when or if Tua is coming back.
My opinion, Tua is not coming back this year. That's just my hunch.
So at this point, then what are you doing? You need a quarterback.
The problem is, like I said, you have a lot of good pieces, but you don't have the most important piece working for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Actually, I would have done it the other way. If Andy Dalton was available, I would have brought him into Miami and put a veteran piece to lead.
But my question is, with you mentioned one of the best wide receiver rooms, one of the best wide receiver pairings, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Do you think if Bryce Young goes there, his numbers improve and his play improves a little because he has that talent around him?
That's a good question. Again, it all comes down to chemistry in the locker room. Can they connect?
Because I love Adam Thielen, you know that, but
he got hurt, unfortunately, too.
He got hurt, unfortunately, but like it kind of proved last season too. Because remember, Carolina was bringing Miles Sanders and Adam Thielen, but those guys it didn't work.
They brought in names, but they didn't do anything. That's what happened. And but like I said, it still seems odd that Andy Dalton takes over right early on in the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden the team wakes up and starts playing good for the game.
I mean, the other thing is they played the Raiders. Wait till you see what happens. And I say that with the acknowledgement that I did pick him as a lock, but I doubted Andy Dalton.
Well, we were all wrong. Let's acknowledge that. Except for Pat, who somehow took the Panthers. No disrespect, but that just seemed like a very bizarre pick to me. But
no, absolutely. We all have our questions about Andy Dalton at this point. But my point is they played the Raiders, who, by the way, are also now considering a quarterback change, putting in potentially
Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell back in. But, Nick, I'm just saying that because their next 5 games, the Panthers, Bengals, Bears, Falcons, Commanders, Broncos.
The only one that I could see them beating is the Bears.
That's my point, is that, you were talking about a good job Andy Dalton did, but when you play the Falcons, when you play, or how about when you play November 24th, when you play the Chiefs, or December 8th when you play the Eagles, or the 15th of December when you play the Cowboys. There's going to be a much different story there.
They're going to get routed. Unless you have what happened with the Raiders, where I feel like they kind of played down to the competition, a la Pittsburgh Steelers style a little bit. But when you look at Bryce Young, and the quote says open to anything, I think that's just desperation. I think he knows Andy Dalton came in and threw for 319 yards. Bye-bye. You're not coming back for a while. I think Andy Dalton is going to start until he has a clunker, to be quite honest. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but do you see him being the starter?
If they trade Bryce, yes. But if they trade Bryce Young, at that point, you're stuck with Andy Dalton.
Well, you can always go get a backup quarterback. But,
right.
I mean, on the Miami trade for a second, they brought in Tyler Huntley off the practice squad, who seems to keep bouncing around from team to team and can't get on a roster.
That's true. I forgot about Huntley being there. Yeah, Huntley's probably going to start, but, take a flyer, I guess, on Bryce Young as a backup, which I think, by the way, when that report coming out about multiple teams reportedly injured, it's nobody quarterback hungry. It's teams looking for a backup.
I'm trying to think Miami would be the one that needs a quarterback for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think around the rest of the league who really needs a quarterback.
Well, the Raiders, if they're going to consider O'Connell or Minshew.
I don't see him going far west. I just don't see that happening. It would be interesting to take a Bryce Young and put him behind a really good quarterback on a really good team and just let him sit and fit into a winning culture. And see how that really works out. I mean, unfortunately, it didn't work out with Trey Lance and the Dallas Cowboys, who's got a guaranteed $5 million this year on the roster. You did know
How does that
right?
taste, Jerry? How does that taste?
How about them Cowboys?
Don't even get me started with Jerry and his stupid comment about a certain player's size. You did see that video, right?
Do I have to remember that video?
Well, that was fairly recent. It was a couple of days ago. But
I said, do I have to remember that video?
That's typical Jerry right there.
Can I use the Men in Black tool, the memory wiper, and just forget I ever saw that?
But long story short, I don't think Bryce Young is going to be along for Carolina. I think eventually he will be out. I mean, the unceremonious benching also.
Yeah.
It wasn't we went through the motions. You didn't hear their head coach or the owner come out and say, "Hey, we're thinking about benching him. Maybe we'll give him one more start." No, you literally just threw him into the black hole and said, "We're done." So I don't know. It's possible he could be heading towards a number 1 overall pick bust.
Yeah, very well possible.
We'll see what happens.
I just saw something in the Yankee game that kind of pissed me off. That's why my attention turned a little bit. Let's just go on to the last 2 topics quickly. Little media news. The Eagles, not Philadelphia, but Ian and Noah, are both being targeted by Netflix alongside Greg Olsen, Nate Burleson, to be the announcers for the Christmas doubleheader.
By the way, this is quite literally a mix of all networks, if you think about it. So, Ian is CBS. I think Noah is NBC.
Mm-hmm. Well, something to note. Noah Eagle and Nate Burleson, the last 2 years, have done the Nickelodeon commentary
for the Super Bowl. Yeah.
No, well, the 1 year for the Super Bowl, but for the 2 years when Nickelodeon was airing a Christmas NFL game.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
So they have experience together, those two, and they're pretty good too. I listened to them talking on the Nickelodeon. They're a pretty good duo together.
I just feel like it kind of like babied them a little bit though, because of all the Nickelodeon graphics. A little.
Yeah, but you know what? I think they kind of showed in that sense that they can be entertaining and they know their audience.
I'll give you that. Like, I think Noah Eagle is the next up-and-coming like big star in the broadcasting. Mm-hmm. Heck, he's called Notre Dame games. He's called tennis in Paris. He's called NFL games. He went to Brazil this season. I mean, the guy's an incredible broadcaster and will be an incredible broadcaster for many years to come. But like I was starting to say, so Ian is CBS, Noah's NBC, Olsen is Fox, and I think Nate is CBS also. So they're trying to mix everybody in to get as many partners as they can as possible. Now, they haven't said if there's going to be sideline reporters for any of this at all, but that's a lot of by the way, that's a lot of money. Like, we're missing that part of the headline. Also, $150 million for a Christmas doubleheader on Netflix.
Yeah.
Woo.
Nick, before we get to our last topic, hold on. Where is it? I need the up there. Okay, there it is. A little bit of breaking news from Bob Nightingale. So a little bit of correction. They have one more home series. The Yankees home series was not the last one. I mean, the Yankee series was not the last for the A's. Texas Rangers. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me double check that very quickly.
Well, I saw a press release the other day that the Rangers were the last series that they were playing.
Okay, it is at the okay. I don't know why. Oh, okay. Now I understand. I read it again. Now I understand what Nightingale is saying. Texas Rangers security addressed the Texas Rangers players today to prepare them for all scenarios on Thursday for the Oakland A's final game at the Coliseum with a sellout crowd.
What?
That basically, that it could be something like a Minnesota. Do you remember when the Washington Senators were, I think, going to become, and they played the Yankees
and they ran on the field.
Ran on the field. I think they're telling the Rangers players to be ready for anything.
I don't think you can really get away with that today, though.
I don't think so either, but you never know what it's going to be. You don't know what that environment is going to be like on Thursday.
I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you're not going to see people running on the field. First of all, if I know Major League Baseball, they're going to want all that stuff for Cooperstown, if I had to take a guess. Even though I think that brings no value to Cooperstown, what's going on in O.Co Arena, or whatever they're calling it right now. But that's interesting. Does it say anything like really specific or no?
No. There's just a Nightingale tweet.
So, oh yeah, I see the tweet too. Oh, I missed this one. Back on the Netflix story for a second.
Okay.
So Ryan Glass-Steagall said that Fox rejected Netflix request to have Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt announce one of the Christmas NFL games.
Wait, what'd you say? Tom Brady?
Fox rejected Netflix's request to have Brady and Kevin Burkhardt announce a game.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of crazy, no?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want your biggest name calling the game?
I don't know.
I'm trying to read the story really quick because I just found it.
I guess because they don't want Netflix to get their property, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wait a minute. It says that Ian Eagle and Nate Burleson, both NFL talents for CBS, which is producing the games. So CBS is producing the broadcast.
Which actually kind of makes sense because Nickelodeon, I mentioned that they had the Christmas Day game last year.
It's Viacom. Yeah.
Viacom, same company. That's why Noah and Burleson were able to do it. So where does Greg Olson come into? I guess because they wouldn't get Brady, they're going to give the payday to Greg Olson.
I don't even know if it's a separate payday type thing that they're getting. I have no idea.
I know, but I guess they felt bad for Greg Olson. Kind of got demoted to the number 2. So here you go, Greg. You get to do Christmas Day.
But that's crazy. Wait a minute. Like Tom Brady would have brought so much attention to those Netflix games, and you're turning that away as an NFL. Why isn't the NFL stepping and saying, "Bye, Fox"? For one game, you don't get to make this call.
I don't know.
Do you remember?
I guess because CBS is producing the game and they're trying to get Fox talent.
You know what that reminds me of quickly? Do you remember? I don't remember how many years ago it was. Remember NBC had games and they rejected Al Michaels from taking a day off.
Yeah,
and they said no. Al Michaels has to call the game. It was supposed to be Tirico because of the way the games fell that one weekend. They said, and the NFL basically stepped in and said, "You're not taking a day off. You're calling the game."
Just remember, also Al Michaels was the only person in the history of the world to be traded for a cartoon character.
You are right. That story will always live in infamy forever.
Absolutely. Jaomir Jagr. Let's end with has played professional hockey since 1988. Has still played professional hockey even outside of the NHL. His NHL career came to an end about a decade plus ago. He has played internationally, and he is finally going to be hanging it up after the 24-25 hockey season.
What is that? 36 years?
Over 35 years. 36
Holy
years.
shit!
He is an ageless wonder. This man.
So he's Ichiro.
Yeah, basically. He is the Ichiro of hockey, I guess.
Or Tom Brady.
Played for the Penguins, the Capitals, the Rangers, the Flyers, the Stars, Bruins, Devils, Panthers, and Flames.
How many years did he play for the Rangers?
He played... Let me actually double check that to make sure I get it accurately. He played in 2003-2004 season. And then he played in the 2005-06 season to the 2007-2008 season. Because remember, 04-05, there was no NHL.
But that was the strike year, right?
That was the lockout season, yep.
Because I remember him clearly, and I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but I remember him in a Ranger uniform.
Yeah, he actually, his last year with the Rangers was actually, the Rangers season ended in spring of that year, and then it was fall in that year when I really started to get into the Rangers. So I just missed Jagr's time in New York.
I'm trying to think just generally, like long careers, and hockey's a tough sport to have a long career. I would say the NHL and the NFL are tough professional sports to have long careers in because you're a moving target in both of them and you get hit a ton. Now, I don't know what the average career is in the NHL. In the NFL, the average is about 3 years, they say, because of all the wear and tear and hits. I don't know. Do you know approximately what the average might be for an NHL career?
Average NHL career length? Let's have a look. NHL players do not consistently play for 20 years. The average career length in the NHL is 5 years, according to Google search.
Okay. So it's a little longer than an NFL career.
Jaomir Jagr has the longest career in the history of professional hockey, over 2,000 professional games in 37 seasons.
Wow. It's a lot. I mean,
the shortest career, according to this, I guess this is the Google AI or whatever, the shortest career in NHL history is, who's this guy? Kohler, who played 4 seconds. He was on the ice for 4 seconds.
wait, how does that? That doesn't make any sense. I feel like you could, once you get on the ice, you're accidentally going to be on the ice more than 4 seconds.
Only Greg Kohler's NHL career lasted only 4 seconds and 8 strides. One game, December 29th, 2000. His stick never touched the puck.
That's like if a tree falls in the forest and you weren't around to hear it, does it make a sound?
He skated off the bench. He skated off the bench for like a few seconds and then went right back in. Right back to the bench. 4 seconds and that was it.
So that's like the quite literal definition of garbage time in 4 seconds of filler. But no, this is an impressive career, playing since 1988 and just retire. When did he retire, you said?
He's retiring at the end of the season.
Oh, he's retiring at the end of the season. And you said he's not in the NHL, though, anymore, right?
He's playing international. He's played international for just about all of the 2010s till now. He played some time with the Flyers during, I think, the time where they nearly won the Cup.
So I'll ask you one question here.
Okay.
For the guys that have long careers in the professional leagues, is it worth going overseas to really extend a career?
I mean, the thing about hockey, and actually you can apply basketball to this too, they're international games. They're professional leagues all over the world. The ones we have in the States and in the States and Canada, in this case, because we have Canadian teams, the NBA and NHL are the best known in the world. But you know what? The KHL is a respectable hockey league. You have hockey leagues all throughout Europe. I mean, yeah, even Canada itself has a few hockey leagues for junior or young talent. So there's places to go, even if the NHL doesn't work out. And for a guy who built a name for himself, like Jaomir Jagr, of all of his accomplishments, he could probably go anywhere he would want to, and a team would probably sign him.
So you're saying his career wasn't jeopardized by playing? Because some people, like, you get guys.
I know what you're saying about. I know what you're saying about guys who are there too long, but no, Jaomir Jagr is going to retire, and he's going into the Hockey Hall of Fame like basically right away.
Right, because you get guys that play 20 years, like in Major League Baseball, and then they end up on like some ridiculous team that's going nowhere just because they want to continue playing their career. And they're like, was it really worth the extra 2 years and the like $2.5 million a year you made just to continue playing? Like, it really was not. I mean, but you know what? Good career, long career. And you don't see careers like this anymore because guys get hurt more aggressively in today's game than they did, or they play through injuries.
I mean, it's hockey players. Of course they're going to play through injuries.
Hockey and NFL, I say, are the two most dangerous sports, in my opinion.
All right. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified of everything here on the Empty the Bench Network. Make sure to go to youtube.com/ETV Network. Hit that subscribe button. We're close to 900 subscribers, getting even closer to 1,000. Make sure to follow us across social media at ETV Sports and at ETV Network. And, of course, if you can't watch the video side, listen wherever you get your podcast. If you are listening on the audio side, come to the YouTube home for the video feed. And, of course, shout out to our friends over at Playback for all that they do with us. And, yeah, there'll be plenty of Playback streams to come. Fight study next week for UFC 307. Day and time to be announced at some point next week. But, yeah. That's when you'll see myself, Zan, and Pat Dana on again next for some good old fight watching.
And you just had episode 99 drop.
Yeah, episode 100 is coming out next Tuesday.
Yeah, and I actually watched back on some of your episode. You were right. You had 250, and you had one, and now you have 100 coming up on Outsiders.
Yeah.
So a lot coming up. And like I said, because we don't really get time to do NFL picks during the season. Make sure you check out Football Forecast at the end of the week. Week 4 already. Holy crap. Wait, week 4? Holy crap! Already.
You know my opinion about that, about the pacing.
I mean, before you know it, we're going to be in the holidays. Oh wait,
Yep.
I don't want to wish that away too fast. Sorry, I'm wishing that away too fast for you right now.
But it makes the school year go quicker too.
Well, since you and I work in a school district, yeah, that makes sense. But
right.
yeah, check that out. Forever Power 5 for college football, because that's in season 2. Our last episode did really well, by the way, like really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that out. And yeah, that's pretty much it for episode 251. Excuse me. For Tom Albano, I'm Nick Morgasen. We will see you next week for 252 of Empty the Bench. Good night, everybody.